There are some parts of every job that are just no fun. For a movie reviewer, it's when Tom Hanks is in an awful movie.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Sun is shining, and I definitely need my coffee. We are in my third week of transparency, and we're up to 2,308,007 viewers. Wow. Did I tell you guys I'm not a morning person? Okay.
The Circle is the movie adaptation of the Dave Eggers novel about a tech giant, think Facebook, Google, Apple, whoever you want to, that pushes the invasion of privacy just a little bit too far. Okay, a lot too far. Yes, of course, they're watching us. But are you going to be watching this movie? Here's 5 things you might want to know about The Circle. Wow. I mean, I'm the movie optimist here, guys, but this is a rough movie. It's a disaster. It's a mess. One of those messes where you don't even know where to start. But I'll try, because that's my job, to work my way through this. Let's talk about where this movie falls apart. It starts in the performances, specifically Emma Watson. She's miscast. She doesn't play the role well. The writing is poor, which doesn't help anything. I don't know if the direction was off in this as well. Plus, the way they edited this makes her performance stilted and weird. Her accent work doesn't work here. It's like she's trying to be something she's obviously not. And it's not just her. It's down the line, which again lays credence to the idea that it's the writing and the directing and those kind of things as well. I mean, how does Tom Hanks give a bad performance these days? Yet here it is on the screen. Patton Oswalt is often awful. And it's Bill Paxton's last movie. And it's just like, why this? Why is this the way that he has to go out and be remembered? I'm just going to erase this one from my Bill Paxton memory and go back to something else I love, because all the performances down the line in this are just a miss. That stuff is hard for me to say, by the way, too, because actors have a lot of factors. Nice little rhyme there. And it's not always their fault as to whether or not it doesn't work on the screen. And this movie has so many things that are going to hinder their performances. For one, I think we're really dealing with book-to-movie syndrome here. This feels to me, and I've never read the original book, but it feels to me, and I think some of the Harry Potter movies dealt with this, like a lot of great material was condensed incorrectly, like a poor adaptation of what was important, what made the book, the themes of the book realized, what gave it heart, which characters needed to be in the forefront, what we needed to see of those characters. It feels like such a jumble of paint by numbers and like a puzzle where you try to jam the pieces into the wrong slot, that there's just no cohesion of what the overall book must have had, and it really hurts the movie. But it's not just the confusion that results from a weird adaptation. It's also that the way they choose to emphasize it has zero nuance to it. There's no subtlety here. It very much feels like a propaganda piece about invasion of privacy, technology, where it's going. Now, don't get me wrong, that's important stuff to think about, and it's important stuff to really process. This movie isn't interested in processing it. It's interested in putting up straw men that don't exist. There are scenes in this movie where crowds react to obviously evil intentions with glee and vigor. And is there no human being amongst those 1,000 people? Certainly a few looks of, are they really doing this? It just doesn't feel authentic at all because they don't understand the subtlety and reality of what it means to be human and think about these kind of issues. Of course, the crazy part is, I don't even know what this movie was being propaganda for. I thought it was one thing, and then at the end, I was like, wait, what are you saying now? This movie is so confusing. I don't want to give anything away about the ending, but I'll just say this. If you can come through to the end and answer this question, I will give you extra credit. The question is this movie against technology or for technology? I dare you to get a clear answer about that from this movie. Or is this movie for privacy or for transparency? The movie should at least, if it's not going to come down one way or the other, make you think about which way it should be. This is just such a weird ending and flipperoo. I do not understand what happened. I went back and looked at the book, and now I think I understand what the book was trying to do, which I actually kind of liked and would have loved to have seen that ending. But this ending makes no sense and completely neuters anything this movie might have been trying to say. And of course, that's what's so frustrating about the whole thing, right? Like, there is something important to talk about here. That could be the only good thing about the movie, is that maybe it leads to a conversation that could be a good conversation and an interesting one later. I'll give this one a yellow, I guess, in case maybe there's some positivity there. But it doesn't really do it in a good enough way for you really to have those conversations. You know what does? Black Mirror, the TV show Black Mirror. Instead of watching this, watch any episode of Black Mirror. It will deal with the same kind of concepts, but do it in a way that has a clear outlook, a clear story, and at least helps you think about these things in a more subtle or nuanced way. The only thing in this movie that gets close to me to being positive about looking at that is the way it uses the comments when she's streaming her life live. Some of those comments I found interesting. In fact, there were a few of those comments where I was like, hey, I want to go watch the movie about whoever wrote that comment. It was, deep or interesting, much deeper or interesting than anything in this movie. Overall, The Circle is a complete swing and a miss, and a movie that I cannot recommend to anyone except maybe for a few laughs or to riff on with your friends. This movie is awful. I give it a D-. Thanks for checking out this Your Movie Friend review. We'll get to the Best Ever Challenge here in a bit. Before we do, though, I want to let you know if you want to connect further, I would love that. Hit me up on Twitter, Aaron Dicer, AARONDICER. We have a lot of fun there. If you do podcast, go to SiftPop podcast, SiftPop. We do that every week, review whatever the main movie is out that week, talk about other pop culture, television, anything else that's on our minds. So you might want to check that out. Again, it's SiftPop, SiftPop. Of course, you can hang out on YouTube. Thank you so much for doing that and commenting and subscribing and all that fun stuff. And if you want to support what goes on here at this YouTube channel, you can do that through Patreon now. Brand new Patreon page, patreon.com/yourmoviefriend. Thank you to so many who have already supported there. Really appreciated. You don't know how much it means to me. It really keeps me motivated to keep doing better and better work. So thank you for doing that. All right, on to the Best Ever Challenge, where we pick the best movie ever in a particular category. I'll name mine. You name yours. Actually, I'll give you a clue for mine, and you'll guess it in the comments. We're going to do Best Ever Tom Hanks movies. I have to clear the fact from my system that he was in this movie by remembering all the good things. So let's do Best Ever Tom Hanks movies. Mine is pretty obvious if you know anything about the movies I like. We'll just say, after it, I wrote my name on the bottom of all my shoes. Take a guess at mine in the comments. First person to get it right does get a point. By the way, there are 7 Tom Hanks movies in my top 100 movies of all times. So I do love me some Hanks. And I'm sorry, Hanks, that I had to rip on your movie so bad. Leave your choice in the comments as well. And as always, here's 5 extra seconds to hit subscribe. You can just click the logo right down in this corner, or you can click my big old circle face when it pops up after I clap, which will happen in about 5 seconds. Well, actually, a couple seconds from now. Actually, happening right now.